Hey folks, welcome. Here we discuss real stories by real people. Today we have the story of a man who finds out his girlfriend has cheated on him with her best friend. Let's see how it goes. Story 1. I, 23 male, and my girlfriend, 22, have been seeing each other since freshman year in college. It's been 3 years since then, and now we're both seniors about to graduate. My girlfriend and I each have our own friends, but because we go to the same college, we also have lots of mutual friends, and we do not interfere with each other's friendships. Although we still have cordial relationships with each other's friends and even hang out together sometimes. My girlfriend has a male best friend. They've known each other since they were kids and have been inseparable. Her best friend also goes to our school, and we're cool with each other. We hung out from time to time, and he was a chill dude. He also has a girlfriend, so sometimes, on my girlfriend's insistence, we hang out together, and even go on double dates with them. It's been fun, and we always had a good time. They were really close and obviously cared for each other a lot, so I didn't mind him, and never commented on their friendship. Recently, he broke up with his girlfriend and had been devastated over it. He was heartbroken and lonely, so my girlfriend often spends time with him to keep him company. I didn't mind it. He was her best friend after all, and he needed her at the moment. So I tried not to complain and just let them be. I wanted to be understanding, not some jerk boyfriend that won't let my girlfriend spend time with her friends. But then, their hangouts began to interfere with our relationship. She barely had any time for me, mostly either canceling our dates to be with him or inviting him to join us. It was okay at first, but eventually it began to bother me. So much that when the three of us hung out together, I would feel like a third wheel. I didn't want to make any fuss or make her feel bad, so I talked to her about it one day. She apologized and said it was temporary until he began to feel better and ready to move on. She said that she was sorry for neglecting me and our relationship, and promised that she would make it up to me soon. I let it go, and all was good. One day, she told me that she and best friend were invited to a party and asked me to join. I didn't want this to be another thing with the three of us where I felt like a third wheel, so I told her I was busy and couldn't make it. She could go have fun with him instead. They left for the party and were gone till really late into the night. I tried calling her but couldn't reach her, and I began to get worried. The next day, she was still not back, and her number was still not going through. I was really concerned, waiting for her to call or text. Later during the day, a friend of mine called me and asked me if I had broken up with my girlfriend. I was confused. I wondered why he would think that. I told him no, we didn't, and we're still together, and asked why he asked such a question. Instead of responding, he asked me to check my messages. I did and saw that he sent me some pics. The pics were from the party, and it was of my girlfriend and her best friend dancing, grinding, kissing, etc. They looked so intimate, I could see why he asked. Immediately, I felt angry. I did not want to believe my eyes. I needed to find her immediately and confirm whatever was happening in the pictures. So I called her phone repeatedly, but I still couldn't reach her. I also tried her best friend's cell, but he was not reachable either. I figured they were probably together since she never came home, so I found his address and drove there as quickly as possible, still calling her and getting no response from either of them. I got to the house and went straight to the door, knocking hard until it was unlocked. It was my girlfriend at the door, wearing nothing but what seemed like his shirt with bed hair and looking all crumpled. It was no rocket science. I knew immediately what had happened. This was all the confirmation I needed. She looked surprised to see me at the door, angry and yelling. I couldn't believe it. She began to stammer, trying to explain herself. Hearing the ruckus, her best friend came to the door and saw me. He was surprised. She tried to apologize, saying that she could explain and that it wasn't what it looked like. Her best friend also tried to say something, but I didn't want to hear any lies and excuses from either of them. Instead, I told her that we were over and drove away, leaving her cheating ass behind. She tried calling me to explain, begging me to listen, hear her out. Her best friend also sent some texts saying it was all his fault and that she had done nothing wrong. He was just having a rough night, so she stayed to help. He was begging me just to listen to what they have to say. I didn't want to be bothered, so I just blocked them both. I didn't want to hear from either of them ever again. I couldn't let her go like that, so I texted a friend that works with the school paper and sent him the pics. The following week, it was posted on the gossip column of the school paper. And it was the juiciest piece of gossip to ever grace the school paper. Everyone got to know what she had done, including our friends and teachers. Her infidelity became the lore of the school, and everyone was snickering at both of them in halls, etc. She couldn't bear the embarrassment. She had not only lost her dignity, but also all of her friends, so she stopped coming to school for a few weeks. Nobody knew where she disappeared to, nor did they care. I haven't seen her since then, and I have no idea where she or her best friend are. Honestly, I don't even care. I'll be fine. I'm sorry your relationship with your ex ended the way it did, OP. You were really understanding and very nice about the whole situation. Most guys wouldn't have been as understanding as you were about their girlfriend spending all her time with her heartbroken male best friend. And unfortunately, what they all feared happened to you. I get that your ex was trying to be there for her best friend, but she obviously did more than just be there for him, and her having sex with him means there was probably an attraction there between the two of them all along, which is unfair to you because that would make you the guy she settled for, and you clearly deserve better than that. I honestly hope your ex has learned her lesson and she won't cheat anymore. I wish you good luck moving forward, OP. Story 2. So, my wife, 34, and her friend went out drinking on Friday night, and she didn't come home till 4 in the morning, which made me worried sick. When she finally came home, she was very drunk and was almost being dragged by her friend. The friend had a guilty look on her face and asked me to be patient while listening to her account. I was, of course, alarmed. What account? The friend left saying it's better if my wife told me. My wife was obviously out at this point, so I also went to sleep. At around 11 a.m., I'm woken up by my wife crying and saying she's committed a horrible mistake and she's very sorry. She was hysterical at this point, and I had to calm her down. And finally, after calming down, she told me that she had gotten so drunk last night that she hooked up with a stranger. I was shocked, as you may imagine. So I pressed for details, and she said that they had met two guys while drinking, and they were buying them rounds. At first, she says she turned the drinks down, but when her friend expressed an interest in one of them, they went to talk and accepted drinks from them. My wife was given the responsibility of keeping the friend of the guy busy while her friend talked to the guy. Eventually, after some time and a lot of drinks later, they went to the guy's home, and this is where she had sex with him. My wife says that she went there just to make sure her friend is safe, and she had no ulterior motive. She did admit to some harmless flirting with the guy, but said it didn't mean anything. Sure. She was adamant that she didn't want to have sex with the guy. Then I said maybe you were forced. Let's try to find out who the guy was first. I asked for more details, but she again said she didn't remember. So I went to the pub in the evening and asked around. And luckily, the guy my wife's friend hooked up with was there that night too. I talked to him and he painted a completely different picture of the night. He said he and his friend were very clear with both my wife and her friend from the start that they were looking to hook up, and that my wife or her friend never raised any objection. He also said my wife absolutely knew what was going to happen once they went back to the house. I didn't get to meet the other MFing guy who hooked up with my wife, but I did talk to him on the phone, and he also said the same thing. Both women knew exactly what the deal was, and they still went to his house. I did get heated with him, but he insisted he didn't force anyone. He was as drunk as she, and it was completely mutual from the moment they started talking in the bar. He said I could check the security footage to see how my wife and her friend were acting on that night. I tried, but they wouldn't show me the footage without a police report. I don't know what to think here. My wife insists it's not the case, but did admit to flirting with him. Those guys insist it was mutual. My wife doesn't want to file any case against them, and I'm at a loss. Only one thing is clear to me. My wife put her friend's sexual life ahead of our married life. Otherwise, why go to a stranger's house after midnight? That is clear to me, even if everything else is a mystery. Any advice on how to move forward? Update. I just wanted to make a little update before I get on my flight. After I made my post, I realized I'm just too stressed to stay near my wife. Her mere presence was increasing my stress level. So I've decided to go home and spend the New Year's Eve with my parents, aka people who won't stab me in the back. My wife was distraught and crying hysterically, but honestly my only worry was to reach the airport at time. She's been asking me to go to couples therapy, says she will give up drinking, and she'll stop going out with her single friends, etc., etc. But I told her I don't care. You're welcome to have an orgy while I'm gone for all I care. I just want some peace and quiet, and I'm going to my safe space now. My home used to be my safest space, and my wife was my rock, but now that reality has been shattered. Anyways, she also decided to go to her parents' house, so she dropped me at the airport and was still begging to take her with me. But I need some time alone or my brain will overheat. And I don't know under what circumstance I'll see her again, divorce or reconciliation. I have no idea. So thank you to everyone who commented, and maybe I'll make an update when I make a decision. Right now, I just need your best wishes. Thank you. Update 2. I'm home right now. I'm enjoying the cooking of my mother and I've also reconnected with a few old friends who have come home for the holidays. We did some boating in one of the lakes that we have here. It was amazing. Being in the company of people whom you trust to not hurt you really helps you a lot. As for my wife, I'm still not talking to her, except to tell her that I've reached home safely and will contact her when I want. My mom has talked to her once or twice, but they don't know anything. I've told them that we're just having some troubles. My parents have been married for 28 years, so they know better than to interfere in my marriage. Anyway, that's all I have to share right now. I haven't decided whether I'll stay married or not. Right now, it's just to enjoy the festival of Christmas with my folks, and then I'll decide based on how I'm feeling then. Thank you for all your support. OP, I'll be honest with you after reading your second update. From the way you talk about your wife, it's clear to me that you've lost a lot, if not all, respect you had for her, which is understandable given the whole situation she got herself into. However, if you want to keep your relationship with her, you need to overcome this or straight up get a divorce. The way it is right now won't do you guys any good. If you choose to remain with her without resolving this, part of you will always get angry or sad, and you may keep using this against her during arguments. You can't and shouldn't stay in a relationship where you have no respect and trust for the other party. Try to find out more about what happened that night, maybe from your wife's friend. In the end, I hope you make the decision that's good for you. Now for some comments. My god, this entire post makes me want to throw my phone at a wall. Either way, she had sex with someone else without your knowledge. She broke the sanctity of your marriage and your trust in the relationship. One can say she felt remorse because she fessed up to it immediately. However, this is not an excuse for such poor behavior. She was so weak. She let some stranger ruin her life. If she was weak for one, there's plenty more behind him. Leave her, bud. You deserve better. I would talk to the friend who was more sober when she brought her home. This might give more insight. I'm not saying it's right, but alcohol was involved, and she immediately came clean to you, which says she did regret it and didn't want to lie to you. Some people have said the guy's response about the cameras says something, but it honestly doesn't at all. Also, I wouldn't let my friend just go to a house drunk either. But to be honest, if her friend was sober when she brought her home and your wife was blackout, I think her friend failed her, as she should have never let your wife do that when she wasn't in her right mind. You have to choose to believe your wife or the strangers in the bar. If she's saying she doesn't remember what happened, like she was possibly roofied, then you should seek legal counsel and advise the bar ASAP to not overwrite any footage from that night. Bars typically erase footage every 2 to 4 weeks. However, it seems she does remember the sex and she's reluctant about pressing charges, so this doesn't appear to be the case. Her offer to stop seeing her single friends is worthless. She's an adult and has control of her own actions. She lacked the mental and emotional maturity to know what the boundaries are. I've read other stories where the cheating spouses were influenced by their friends, who were also cheating spouses. All the same excuse. Your wife has a lot of growing up to do. At the bare minimum, she needs an STD test.